What is up, everybody? It's Verdi here, and thank you so much for stopping by, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have one of the most exciting videos. Of course, twice a year we make those. We always talk about the balls of Black Desert. We're talking about the Heidel ball and the Calpheon ball. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, though. Today's video is going to be precisely about all of the so-called leaks, all of the so-called spoilers of it. So this might not be exactly your cup of tea. So be warned, this will be written with spoilers and things that might happen, might not happen. Of course, the birds are singing, so to say. Hadum is whispering in my ears, and he's letting me know of things that might happen. Some things are data mined, which I'm going to share right now. Some things aren't data mined. It's those particular whispers that I am hearing. But rest assured, we're going to talk about tons of spoilers. But before we go into the Heidel Bowl announcements and everything that I think, based on all that I know that will happen, how about you press that like button and that subscribe button, because I'll be doing a live watch party and I really don't want you guys to miss it. We're gonna just chill, probably somewhere in Heidel on some server whatsoever, and we're gonna just have some good fun, watch it all together as I explain to you the things as they're about to occur. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do not really wish to delay you, because Heidel Bowl is a big thing. Everybody likes it, everybody enjoys it, is the top excitement. But just a little bit of a disclaimer, this is not a video talking about just the obvious things. No, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of things, and I say we really begin. The idea of Edania is the culmination of Black Desert's Arc 1, and not just Edania, the finale with Dawnbreak, which is supposed to conclude the quote-unquote dragon bit of Black Desert storytelling. See, I get it, while most of you guys are not really into BDO Lore, and I perfectly understand why, BDO Lore is a part of the, well, I guess sandbox environment, whatever is left of it. It is a bit that you have to dig to find out. BDO has no proper storytelling, and that is completely intended. It's just how the game is supposed to be told from the sandbox perspective. You just get the little bits of knowledge here, quests, you collect the entire thing to get a good and broad understanding of what's going on. But see, Edania is supposed to be the culmination of our story, pretty much the finale of the so-called, as Perlibis say, Arc 1. So we are to expect this Heidel Ball to get some very good hints at what's gonna happen afterwards, because we have less than a year and a half content before, or at least presumably before, this Arc 1 ends, and then we're off to 1,000 years ago if that plan still stays. So Edania will hold very, very big, well, I guess reveals in regards to the future of BDO, how that will come to be. We might be getting tons of reveals surrounding Crimson Desert as well. We are seeing that Perlibis want to touch those universes, as in Crimson Desert, it is already revealed, spoiler ahead of course, that Black Desert is a part of that universe. It is a book inside the library, so to speak. And one of the cool things about it is that it seems like PA really are playing with this multiverse factor. We see it with them pulling Deadeye. We see potentially something right now with Wukong, which will be the class revealed at Heidel Ball as well, and a lot to do with Lan. We'll see all about that. Hopefully there's going to be a very cool cinematic, and it's not going to be a rehashed of Black Desert. Mobile, basically. In regards to the setting, we are also expecting Dawnbreak. Dawnbreak was that little thing which we thought that we were going to get before Edania, but then, in my opinion, due to the shift, so to say, of interest, which the player base, let's be honest, when we saw Edania, everybody responded positively about that compared to Land of the Morning Light Part 2, you know, the Everfrost Part 2, which is supposed to be called Dawnbreak. It's very important to say that obviously PA really want to give Edania to us first. However, Perlibis actually shipped all of the data, or pretty much the majority of the data, into the global labs regarding Everfrost, which they only do if and only if it is ready to be pushed out in production. So at current times, it kind of stays like Edania might have to wait a little bit, and then we'll be getting first Dawnbreak. Or if we get, you know, Edania Part 1, we're going to get Dawnbreak in between. So just as a little bit of a disclaimer, this might actually happen. Talking about Dawnbreak, we cannot really avoid the conversation about the so-called new flame, the so-called new weapon. See, it is obvious at this point in this game that we're gathering those flames. They're an essential bit of lore. They're remnants of an idea, so to speak. Let's just put it without overcomplicating it too much. With that being said, finding this Phoenix Flame or finding the remnants of it, whatever of it is left, could potentially be the final piece of our gearing, which is of course the Sovereign-esque, in details offhand, which, seeing how things progress in Black Desert, we might be awaiting a Sovereign weapon offhand in typical Kharazad fashion. Think of it like this. You get a Sovereign weapon, which then you can choose with a crystal on whether or not that can be a Kutum or a Nuver. And depending on your Caphras level, who knows how and why, they might actually introduce this into the game as such. And it makes perfect sense, to be fair with you. We'll see if they actually move forward with this idea. But let's go back into Edania. The entirety of the idea of Dawnbreak is to finish the dragon bit of lore, to figure out what is going there, and possibly figure out how Caphras, the Immortal Alchemist, got back from the void. Speaking of him, he's going to be a part of the 5 bosses, the 5 big bosses of Edania. Edania seems to be a little bit of play onto the Land of the Morning Light, but integrated within our world. We're not entirely sure so far how exactly this will play out in detail, whether or not they're going to be dungeon bosses, whether or not they're going to be world bosses. We have no idea whether or not there's going to be even grind spots in that zone, but rest assured there's going to be a huge castle PvP-wise to be conquered with a boss inside of it. We have no idea if that's going to be Jordine or not, but of course time will tell. In general, there is a 5 big pieces of content to be introduced in Edania. The first one being Caphras of the Immortal Alchemist. Most of you guys right now will be, wait, isn't Caphras a stone? Yes, Caphras is a stone. Originally it's called a solar stone. It is named after Caphras, the person who named it. He is the creator of the Caphras stone. He is one of the most important characters within the setting of Black Desert. He is, in fact, right now as we speak, the most important character within the setting of this world. We've been chasing and going after him since 2017. Pearl Abyss, with the reworks of Balanos, introduced Caphras to the player 5 minutes within the new gameplay quest chain. Caphras to the newcomer players is a big thing, and not just for the newcomers. He has always been big, but Pearl Abyss are right now pivoting the entirety of the finale of Black Desert through Caphras. Speaking of the other bosses, of course, we've heard about Enslar, the maternal figure of the Valkyrie. Enslar will be one of those particular bosses, and it's heavily hinted that she will be a world boss. We are not entirely sure if that is still onto the table, but it kind of was hinted that she might be a little bit of that Garmoth fight type of a thing. We're not entirely sure if that is still onto the table. Remember, things change, but rest assured, Enslar will be there. The maternal figure of the Valkyries retrieved from the finale of the, I guess the Valkyrie arc, where the Valkyries sacrificed themselves to seal off Zarka, in a sense, and Enslar was that particular sacrifice. Well, she survived, and she has something to do potentially with Caphras. They might be in league with one another, which is very interesting. Speaking about this third boss, which we just spoke a little bit earlier about, Jordine. Jordine will be there, and very heavy hinting that he is going to be able to turn into a beast. That beast was actually shown to us in one of the trailers for Edania, or rather the teasers for Edania, and it is very interesting. The Jordine teaser is that he's going to turn into a beast, which, the pattern of this beast in particular is similar to what his pattern on his outfit right now currently is. Jordine will play a very big part. We're not sure if it is still set in stone for him to be the PvP boss of the PvP castle, but we have, no idea so far. All we know is that he is fully ready to be pushed out and for us to fight. Now, moving on into the 2 bosses which nobody knew anything about up until data mining came through the game. The first boss being this Mermaid boss and everything around the so-called merfolk, which are going to inhabit potentially the western side of Edania. Those merfolk appeared recently with a brand new quest chain put into the game, and the merfolk escaped the clutches of Urzeka in the ancient times to settle at the western side around Crow's Nest in particular. Very important, and it kind of looks like they will have a setting. Around those merfolk and this particular new boss, this mermaid boss, is a very important new crystal or a new stone. We're not sure if it's crystal that you could equip or it's a stone that you can use in the same sense, like, the sharp black crystals that you create enhancing materials with. But overall, it's called a What's It crystal, and this will play a very important role for whatever that content is. This What's It crystal could be a link towards sea content. We have no idea. It could be that this mermaid boss is in fact a sea content thing. We still have no idea. All we know is that the fight is there, the mechanics are done, and it will in fact be a thing. Not to mention that this mermaid boss is very close to Crow's Nest. In there is a particular individual known as Patrico, who is also Corsair's dad. So this could be this particular link between Corsair's mother, which is of this merfolk, and of course, talking about Patrico, the night vendor, the guy who holds the entirety of the treasury in Crow's Nest. Now, this could be a lore plot. We will see how exactly this goes, but it's very interesting to finally see Corsair getting some love onto the lore front. The final bit, a boss which nobody expected, even a tiny little bit. It is none other than Cartian, the immortal sorceress herself, the person who found Tarif with Elan. She is one of the most important characters within the setting of our game, as she is in fact Illezra's ex-companion. Basically, Cartian is one of the strongest individuals within our lore. She achieved immortality upon herself, and she created a link with the Black Spirit like none other whatsoever. So she can be that particular bit of touching point where we get to recover the Black Spirit powers of ours, so that the concept of a King of Idana actually is going to come into fruition. The strongest human with the strongest Black Spirit to go within a symbiosis and progress forward into whatever the lore and the setting is going to go after. So this is something, in my opinion, very important. Cartian is no joke. She is pretty much the maternal figure, as like Enslar is to the Valkyrie, Cartian to the Sorceress. It is absolutely insane. Now, into the finale of the final Gladios bit, we saw a breathing figure eavesdropping. It is still unfortunately bugged. Some people see different things, different classes. Some see Valkyries, others see human warriors, others see some female warrior-esque type of looking thing. Nobody knows what that is, and nobody still knows what that in fact is. So I cannot really tell you much about it, but rest assured that the final Gladios will be a part of the prelude to Idania, in a sense where, well, Illezra left with the heart of Adamagia, and now we gotta figure out what it's going to happen with her. In Valencia, there's going to be a prelude quest in particular where an Elton appears, or rather, what was that guy? A Leighton, my bad, forgive me. A Leighton construct appears, and there is a little bit of a teaser that available onto the Korean channel. I think it was only onto the Korean channel. I might be mistaken. But rest assured, Illezra's kind of arc is coming to a finale with a very big twist, because Pearl Abyss are setting Illezra to be a god. Yes, a god that simply toyed with us for a long period of time. It kind of looks like this. She is capable of stopping time, observing time, going back in time, doing so many things. So the big plot twist right now is, how is Illezra of Camasylvian origin? This is one of the biggest questions so far within the lore community, and one of my questions as well. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, plenty of other content. We don't know what outfits and what type of new quality of life changes and how precisely things are going to be, but those are the important things for us to expect within this Heidel Ball. And obviously a lot more. We're going to get probably details into precisely how the PvP is going to function in Idania. We're going to get information on perhaps the crafting of the so-called Fallen God-esque progression of the Black Spirit enhancing for the armors to get them onto a similar, means of progression as Caphras' sovereign weapons. We have no idea how that precisely will come through, but rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited about Heidel Ball, and I can't wait to see it. But until then, remember, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you have the notifications on, because I can't wait to see you guys onto the watch party. It's gonna be great fun. And with that said, much love as always, and I'll see you there. Enjoy yourselves. Bye bye.